We are now live. Put it out. Facebook was good. Everybody, as y'all checking in, hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Let's get this in here properly. Hope everybody's having a great. Is it today Wednesday? Yes, today is Wednesday. All right, there we go. All right, so we are live now. Y'all already know what it is. Y'all know what the program is. Y'all know what we do here every day. It's not the same topic every day, but we are going to get into what we got to get into every day. I figured it out. We've been having issues the last couple of days with connecting the Instagram and connecting the Facebook at the same time. Now I figured it out. If I go live on IG first, then I go live on Facebook, it always works. So if I go live on Facebook first and then I try to do IG, for whatever reason, IG does not come through proper. But that's all fixed. We good. So some people got here early today. That's what's up. Early is on time. On time is late, and late is forgotten. So you're here on time, actually. If you early, you are on time. On time is late, and late, forget about it. So today, everybody, going for brownie. Why did you leave that comment? That don't even make no sense, first of all. Anyway, today's conversation, y'all see what it is. We're going to address this again. I'll wait till people come in. I'm going to give y'all a minute to come in. Then we're going to get into this topic. If you're checking in on Facebook right now, you can leave a comment, tell me your name, or hit that share button, share it to your feed, or you can at least hit the like button and just like it. Let Facebook know that you're engaging with what we're talking about. So as y'all checking in, Instagram, tell me your name and location in the comment section. We're going to get right into it. We're going to get started in like 15 seconds. I'm going to introduce myself. Then we're going to get right into what we need to get into today. Again, hope everybody's having a great day. And I'll explain why I'm talking about what I'm talking about. And then y'all know what I'm going to do. I'm going to enumerate it. I'm going to lay it out and explain it. And then I'll take questions if there are any questions. And then that's that. And then you could go and work on your game. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year professional athlete, author, now 26 books. I've done 4 TED Talks. I'm a coach, consultant, keynote speaker, product producer, Uber content producer. I produced over 7,000 YouTube videos. Everything I say I produced, I published it as well. So, over 7,000 YouTube videos, 7,000 articles. You can find them all online. YouTube, y'all know where that is. And I got a podcast called Work on Your Game. Comes out every single day. You can find that on all the podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play. Y'all know the rest. I got another podcast coming out soon. I teased it on my story today. If you didn't see it, go to my story. I got another podcast that is coming out next week. Go to my story. And I'm having both podcasts. So Work on Your Game is not going away. It is not changing. There's another one that's coming because, as I told you, I'm a master content producer. I'm able to do this. Nobody else can do it, but I can do it. So all of that I do is under this whole philosophy. All the frameworks are under this philosophy I created called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking a pro athlete mindset, teaching how to apply that mentality to your business, your sport, and your life. So this is for 3 specific types of people. I wrote a book on Work on Your Game. It's right here. I'll tell you about this later. But Work on Your Game for 3 specific types of people. Number 1, person who feels like you need more game. Person number 2, who feels like you need to get better at performing your game, and person number 3 who feels like you need more recognition for your game. So if you're one of those 3 people, you need more skill, you need better performance, or you just need to get more recognition, then Work on Your Game is for you. Today is not specifically, this is not a Work on Your Game topic. You see what the topic is that I wrote up here. The police are not our problem. I'm talking a little bit more on this whole situation that happened with George Floyd in Minneapolis last week. It's not really about George Floyd himself, because George Floyd has passed away. The only thing we can do right now is see what the judicial system in the state of Minnesota does with the police, and we just have to wait until something happens before we can say anything else about that. But that has mushroomed into a different conversation with a lot of people from the African American community coming out and making statements and representing certain things, and some people, I feel, misrepresenting our people in certain ways. And they got a lot of the white people scared to say anything. You got white people apologizing for being white. I listened to a podcast today with Steve Kerr, Greg Popovich, and Pete Carroll. They was all basically apologizing for being white. They didn't say anything of substance, I don't think. But I get their position and why they got to say what they say, because they work with a whole bunch of young, woke black people who have been influenced by people who are not leaders. So they feel like they have to say these things because they know if they don't, then their players are going to be looking at them like they're crazy, because their players have been misled by the same wrong people. But anyway, I am trying to do my part to give the right kind of information and education to the people who actually want to learn, people who actually want to get some meat and potatoes and get some value of what we're talking about here, things that will help you personally empower yourself. And one of the things that, for those of you who are new to me or don't know me or you never really heard of me like that before the last couple of days or whatever the situation may be, understand that everything that I talk about and this whole philosophy of work on your game, again, that I wrote a book about, I'll mention it again, I'll tell you about that later. But the whole philosophy is all about, we always bring it back to ourselves. No matter what somebody else did, somebody else said, whether you think somebody is right or wrong, you think somebody else is an asshole, a complete idiot, you feel like they just did something to mess you up, whatever you think another person did or however you interact with other people, understand that you always got to bring it back to you. Now, unless you lose your life, like George Floyd did and other people have, unless you lost your life, you can always bring a circumstance back to yourself and ask yourself, what can I do to regroup, gather myself, and get to what I need to do based on this situation? That's always the bottom line. Where can I take some ownership, full ownership, and get control with this situation? That's the bottom line of everything that we come back to. So what I've been seeing over the last week, this is not new, but because now social media is as big as it's ever been, it just keeps getting bigger. And now this situation has happened. And at the same time, the confluence of events, we had COVID-19, everybody's in the house. We was just starting to get open again, and then this happened. So now everybody's talking about it because there ain't nothing else to talk about. There's nothing, no TV shows. People can't, I don't think actors and actresses are acting. Athletes ain't playing their sports. There's literally nothing else going on, at least by the minute, that there is to talk about. It would be the NBA Finals right now, but we ain't got that because of COVID-19. So everyone's talking about this. So this has become such a big topic that has reached me, even though I do not watch the news. I don't follow any news platforms, but when something's big enough and there ain't nothing else going on, you find out about it. So of course, I'm seeing a lot of things that are getting said, and some of it is not sitting well with me, especially being a black man and seeing that there are a lot of impressionable people, black, white, and every other color in between, who seem to think that what has been coming out of some of the prominent names in African American culture is what black people in general think. And that really bothers me because there are people who don't know all the nuances of what's going on here. So they hear one prominent person say something, and then they see 300 people amplify it, and they're like, oh, that must be what all black people think. That is not what all black people think. I talked about that a lot yesterday. But today's topic is about what are the issues that are actually, one of the things is actually getting in our way as black people and why we are not able to progress the way that we need to progress. There are several points that I want to make here, but the general point is what I said here. The police aren't our problem, and it ain't really about the police. It could be, you could say police, you can swap that out with white people, you can swap that out with the system, whatever you consider the system to be. You can swap that out with Donald Trump. You can swipe that out with anything that you think is some blanket issue that you see African Americans pointing at as the reason why, or as something that they believe is in their way, something they feel like is blocking black people or hurting black people or killing black people or oppressing black people. Anything that you hear a black person say they think is the thing that is in the way of their success as a people, understand, you can swap police out by that. I just use police because y'all know the situation that happened. That's the only reason I put police. But we could take that out. We could put Donald Trump, white people, white supremacy, the system, oppression, whatever you want to call it, okay? Now let's get into the points. Since we all know what happened last week, and we see what people have been saying, we see people like Charlemagne, LeBron James, whoever else saying, is the systemic oppression. Colin Kaepernick years ago, we haven't heard from him, but he started this years ago, quote unquote, he started it. He didn't start it, but okay. White supremacy, systemic oppression. We think these are the things that are holding black people back, or they're blocking black people. I don't even quite get, this is the thing. The reason why we're not making progress the way that we want to make it, there are a bunch of reasons. I'm going to lay them all out here today. The first reason is that we don't even know what the problem is. What is the problem for black people these days? If I got any black people watching this who feels like there is a problem for black people these days, can somebody tell me what it is? Actually, you ain't got to be black. Whoever's watching this right now, please leave a comment and tell me, from what you've heard, what you see, what is the problem for black people right now? Can somebody tell me from what you've heard? I don't care if you're white and you don't even know a black person. Just tell me in the comments, from what you've heard, what you read, what you watch, what do you believe black people think is the problem for black people in America right now? And this is going to help prove my larger point. So as y'all get to that, I'm gonna get deeper into these points. So we got one person who says police brutality. Another person says freedom and safety. And I'm sure there's going to be many more comments along these lines. Police brutality, and then all those other things that I listed out already as people laying out as the issues for black people. Aaron, what's going on? I appreciate you. All right, so there's the thing. Number one, as I already said, let's see, we say Black Lives Matter when a white man kills them. Okay, somebody said that. Somebody said we're being hunted like animals at times. We got another one said black people are always the ones getting killed for no reason. Somebody said Black Lives Matter. Someone said flawed judicial system. Okay. Another person said the government. Okay, so basically everything that I laid out. Everything that I laid out. That Black Lives Matter that means we're being hunted. Hunted by who? Usually it's police or white people, right? I just said police and white people ain't the problem. The system, anything that got to do with the government or the president or what is it called? The judicial system, people going to prison, the prison complex. None of these things are perfect, but they are not the problem, and they're not the thing holding anybody back. And what I couldn't understand, what I was talking about yesterday, is how the hell can somebody be successful and they never look at themselves as a victim, but then they're preaching to y'all victimhood and they're promoting you making yourself feel like a victim. And Core G1, you already know what I'm talking about. So somebody said no direction in life, gang culture from a young age, gun violence. So there's a lot of things. Well, first of all, let's be clear. White people, if you're watching this, you are not the problem. All right. Black people are not mad at white people. I'm speaking for myself. Okay. Black people are not mad at white people. We're not mad at the cops because whatever cop did something wrong to a black person, that black person died. We got an issue. If that cop did the wrong thing, then we got an issue with that cop. Now, once all the facts come out and we get all the information, the issue is with that cop. And it ain't even just us that got an issue. Even white people got an issue. Listen, if a black person does something wrong, then I got an issue with that black person because you did something wrong that was against the law, that cost somebody their life. I got an issue with that. If a white person is a cop and does something wrong that cost somebody their life, doesn't matter what color the person is who died, everybody got a problem with that. White people got a problem, Latin people got a problem, Mexicans got a problem, Europeans got a problem, but everybody got a problem with that. So this is not a black issue. If a bad cop or a cop does something wrong and it costs somebody their life, everyone has a problem with that. So the police are not our issue. White people, y'all are not our issue. We're not mad at white people. So anybody here white, we're not mad at you. If you didn't post the black square yesterday, you didn't do anything wrong. You don't have to speak out on behalf of black people. We don't need nobody to speak for us. Just like we don't need nobody, just like each one of you individually, you don't need nobody to fight for you. We don't need nobody to speak for us. So any white person listening to this right now who feels like, hey, I got to say something or else you're going to get attacked, maybe you will. Listen, I don't know you. I don't know who your friends are. You might get attacked if you don't say nothing. If you come out and say anything that even sounds like you're going against whatever the party line is for whatever black people can see your stuff, you might get attacked for saying the wrong thing or not saying the right thing. I get it. But I want y'all to understand that is not the issue. And white people ain't the issue. As I said, white people and the cops ain't the issue. Government ain't the issue. Here's the biggest problem for us. We have no strategic direction. And Kev just left a comment that exactly what I'm saying. We don't have any strategic direction. You know what strategic direction means? It means, and Angela over on Facebook said, both black and white friends are saying white supremacy and systemic racism. I'm glad you said that. We're going to address both of those topics right here today. Angela, thank you for the comment. And Angela got the top fan on Facebook, so shout out to her. We don't have a strategic direction. Strategic direction means exactly what it says. You know where you're going, and you have a strategy in place to get from here to there. You know how in the alphabet, everybody knows the alphabet, right? A to Z. To get from A to Z, what do? You got to go through all the letters. There's 26 letters in the alphabet. So you're at letter number 1. To get the letter number 26, you got to take 25 steps. That's what strategic direction is, if y'all could understand that metaphor. We as black people do not have a strategic direction. And let me tell you how I know we don't have a strategic direction. Because whatever direction the wind blows, that means whatever is happening, whatever's the wave or is popping at that moment, that's what everybody goes and runs to. And then when it doesn't work, then we go do something else. When that doesn't work, then we do something else. When that doesn't work, we do something else. So here's the thing. Colin Kaepernick in 2016 took a knee, right? He took a knee, and everybody was like, well, Colin Kaepernick, why are you taking a knee? He said, I'm taking a knee to demonstrate against systemic oppression and systemic racism and oppression and bodies in the street and the same things people are saying today, 4 years later. That's what he was taking a knee for. Fine. Okay, if that's what we're doing, everybody jumped behind him. Everybody said Colin Kaepernick's a hero. Colin Kaepernick did the right thing. We got to stand with Cap. When he ended up losing his job in the NFL, he technically became a free agent, but nobody signed him, and people said he was good enough to play in the league. I don't watch football like that, but let's just say he lost his job in some part because of that knee. I would 100% agree with that. The knee had something to do with him not being employed right now, and he probably will not play in the NFL ever again. That has something to do with it. Now, everybody said he did the right thing, right? They said he had the right idea. So here's the thing. That was 4 years ago. He was kneeling against the same thing that ended up happening to George Floyd last week, right? And people said that when they had the meme. Cap right here, the cop over here. Both of them taking a knee. People had a problem with that. Okay, so if that's the direction we going in, why then when this happened to George Floyd, didn't we do a peaceful protest, like what Cap started? If that was the right thing, why didn't we do it? Why didn't we do a peaceful protest and just do that? I seen the videos. I'm not saying everybody was doing some negative stuff and dumb stuff and breaking stuff and stealing stuff, but I seen some black people running out of sneaker stores with clothes and sneakers. I seen it. Y'all seen it. I seen a video of a dude with detergent in the Bronx. He went in a pharmacy and he stole like 4 detergents. Like he was gonna wash his clothes. And this is what people was doing. And they was black and brown people. It wasn't all white people, and it wasn't everybody, but it was a bunch of people. And here's the thing. And some of you may say, well, look, we don't control the idiots who come to the demonstration and they just start doing dumb stuff that they ain't supposed to be doing. A bunch of people was peaceful over here, but then the idiots are over here. Well, here's the thing. When you have strategic direction and you got the proper leadership in place, those type of things don't happen. You don't allow some idiot who's going to go against the grain and go off the script. You don't allow that person to stick around what you got going on when you have the proper leadership and you have the proper strategic direction, because everybody in the group knows where everybody's going. They know what everybody's doing. They know what everyone's responsibilities are. They know what is to be done and they know what's not to be done. So when someone's doing the wrong thing, everybody recognizes it and everybody says, yo, you're not doing that over here. In other cultures, they got this in place already. They don't even have to be having these conversations. We're having this conversation because we don't have any strategic direction. We have no idea where we're going. Cap took a knee. Everybody said that's the right thing to do. All right, so why ain't nobody else taking it? If that was the right thing to do, why was he the only one doing it? And then when he took a knee, if you believe that was the right thing to do, then he ends up out of the NFL. He doesn't have a job anymore. But then a bunch of other people said, well, that was the right thing to do. Here's the thing that I didn't really understand about Kaepernick. When people start following him, why did he get quiet? He obviously didn't want the leadership position, which is fine. Well, who took it? Who's our leader? Anybody here who's not black, who is the leader of black culture right now? Who is the person that you see as the most prominent voice? Who's the person that's letting you know, who is outside of the black community, letting you know what the black community is about and where we're going and what we're doing? Who's that person? Because I don't know. I'm black and I don't even know. I'll be on the internet all day. I don't know. Who is the leader of our culture? I have no idea. Does somebody know? Can somebody let me know who that individual is so I can reach them and see what they're talking about, so I know what direction we're supposed to be going? If that person exists, is the last time I checked, I didn't know who the leader was. We don't have any leadership. That's why we don't have any strategic direction. We do not know where we're going. What is the outcome? I'm gonna tell you what a business coach of mine said to me once. He said, if your boy Ali says I'm white and I think it's LeBron James just going off of social media, that's a great point. Going off of social media looks like LeBron James. And here's the thing, Ali, you said you're white. A whole bunch of black people think the same thing. All right, and that's the thing that's crazy. A whole bunch of black people think the same thing for the same reason that you think it, because he's the most popular dude on social media. Well, here's the thing. You can't social media your way to actual results in life. We done tried that. All right, a hashtag is not going to produce a result. All right, leaving comments ain't going to produce a result. The black square that everybody posted yesterday, listen, I posted it. I said, all right, I'll post the black square. Let's see if this does it. Somebody let me know what the next step is after this. I posted the black square. What'd that do? Did anything change? If something changed, I didn't see it. All right, we all posted the black square. Now what? All right, what actually occurred? What was the result that was produced by this action? We are doing all these actions. So it was take a knee. So it was march back in the 60s. That worked a little bit. Then the people who were leading that, we had leaders. We had Martin Luther King. We had Malcolm X. We knew who the leaders were. They were telling us, do this, this, this. All right, then they got assassinated. Who's been the leader since? We had Obama for a little bit. People complained about Obama. They said he didn't do enough for black people. Okay, so who's next? Who stepped up in the place of Obama? I haven't seen anybody. All right, please don't mention not Sean King. Don't even start that. Not Colin Kaepernick. All right, he abandoned his leadership. People wanted to follow him. When Cap took the knee, I thought it was a bad idea, but people wanted to follow him. I said, all right, I can still think it's a bad idea. You can still be a leader. There are leaders out there who I think have bad ideas, but they're still leaders because they got followers. Like Adolf Hitler had bad ideas, but he was a leader. He had a ton of followers. Colin Kaepernick had people ready to follow him. What did he do? He disappeared. I ain't heard from him yet. George Floyd died a week ago. Where Colin Kaepernick at? I ain't heard Colin Kaepernick say shit. I thought he was the leader. I thought he was he was right? He took a knee. He was right. He had the right idea from the beginning, even though 4 years later the same things are happening that he was supposedly trying to stop. He ain't said nothing yet. But y'all getting mad at white people because they won't post Black Lives Matter? Y'all getting mad at white people because they won't post a black square? But Colin Kaepernick ain't said shit. I ain't hear none of y'all trashing him. Somebody let me know. Somebody said, what's my issue with Shaun King? I don't have an issue with Shaun King. I'm not sure Shaun King is even black. That's a question I have about Shaun King. It's not an issue, it's a question. I'm not sure he's black. And I never heard him actually come out and say I'm 100% black with 2 black parents. Now, even if he had 1 black parent, I haven't heard him even say that. I don't know the origin of Shaun King. That's my question about Shaun King. If somebody has some information that I don't know, again, y'all can let me know. So anyway, I said, we don't know where we're going. We don't know how we're getting there. All right, in order to get from, let me back up. I skipped over something. So it was leaders in the 60s. Leaders got assassinated. Nobody stepped up since. We took a knee. Not we, but Colin Kaepernick took a knee. That didn't work. So now we post hashtags. All right, that kind of didn't work. Now we do protests outside with some people looting and rioting. Is that working? I'm not sure we can say it is working. Has it produced a result? There's no result. The only result is people are talking about it, but it ain't. And listen, people was talking about Colin Kaepernick 4 years ago. Everybody was talking about him. Did that do anything? He said he was trying to deal with systemic oppression and bodies in the street. Do we still have systemic oppression? According to a lot of black people, we do. Do we still have racism? According to a lot of black people, we do. Is there still white supremacy? According to a lot of black people, we do. So did Colin Kaepernick produce a result? Okay, let's just say that didn't work. All right, so let's hashtag now. Did that work? I'll answer that one, no. We posted a black square. Did that work? No. We broke some windows and stole some clothes out the store. Did that work? No. We don't know where we're going. And we have no idea how we're getting there. You can't know how you're getting somewhere if you don't know where you're going. If you don't have an alphabet, how do you know what the next letter is, what the next step is? And we have nobody who is leading us. Nobody is pointing the way. Who's the leader? LeBron James? LeBron James is not qualified to lead black people. LeBron James is qualified to lead a basketball team because that's what he does for a living. He's a basketball player. I do believe that just because you're an athlete doesn't mean you're incapable of speaking up and saying what you want to say about social issues. You can say whatever you want to say. Anybody can speak up. I'm a former athlete. I can speak. Somebody can tell me maybe I shouldn't be speaking because I'm an athlete. But anybody can say what they want to say. I believe LeBron's ideas are shallow. I believe they are emotionally driven. I believe they're very hyperbolic. There's no substance to them. There's no depth to what LeBron James says. And I don't know if that means LeBron James is not deep or that he's just emotional or that he has no intellect. I'm not sure if that's him or it's just the way that he presents himself to the media. I don't know. I don't know LeBron as a person. I can only judge what I see him doing and that there is no depth to the things that he says. I think he's a great player, great athlete, but when he says he's more than an athlete, I don't know. I haven't seen it. I see what the athlete does. I see the brand. If you want to consider having a brand more than an athlete, I haven't seen him do anything else. Oh, y'all say he opened the school. Well, y'all should read up on that school. I ain't hating on LeBron James, but that's a different topic. But y'all read up on the details of that. That's a public school, and y'all find out how public schools get funded. All right. Anyway, we don't have any leaders pointing the way. We won't know how we're making progress. Now, business coach told me any plan is going to produce a result. You got to have 3 specific things in place. You must have a clear outcome. You must have clear milestones along the way. And there must be clear accountability as to who's responsible for what. In our community, we have 0 out of 3. We have 0. We are batting 0%. We do not know where we're going. We have no idea how we'll know we're making progress. And there's no one in charge of anything. Nobody is taking responsibility. No one is taking accountability. Again, Cap started and everybody got behind him, said, all right, yeah, Cap's doing the right thing. He disappeared. He don't want it. He didn't want that leadership role. Obama won the presidency. We said, all right, we're going to get behind Obama. He's a leader. But then when his term was up, people was trashing Obama. They said he didn't do enough for black people. He didn't do enough to help black people out. I didn't quite understand that. I mean, he represented something. I mean, if y'all want to talk about, people said Obama was just kind of like a symbol or a figurehead as a president. He didn't do enough. He didn't produce enough tangible results for black people. This is what people have said about Obama. For those of y'all who haven't heard it. I heard many black people not trash Obama, but they they didn't think Obama did that much for black people because they like, man, he was in there 8 years. He didn't help black people make no advances. He was there and he looked good and he gave great speeches and it's great to have a black man in the White House, but he didn't do enough for black people. Well, guess what? Who the fuck else is doing something? Who has done more for black people than Obama? I think Obama did a lot. Just by being in the White House and winning and representing what he represented with the way that he did it, with the dignity that he showed, he represented a whole lot for black people. Who has done better than him? Name a black person who has reached more other black people in a positive way than Obama. I can't name anybody. Unless you want to talk an athlete or a rapper, if you want to consider that positive just because they get people to watch TV or dance to a song. But what Obama did, I think he did the most for anybody. But a bunch of people say, well, he didn't do enough tangibly. Well, that's my whole point. Who else is doing something tangible? Who else is doing something tangible for the black people? I don't know. Not anybody that I've been looking at. Not anybody that I've been paying attention to. I don't really understand. Somebody said they're watching on Facebook, Instagram doesn't support live on a computer. There's an app that does. It depends on what kind of computer you got. And the other thing is, we won't know when we're making progress, and we won't know when we got there. How do we know we made it somewhere? How do we know where we're actually going? I told y'all this about Martin Luther King yesterday. Yesterday, Martin Luther King was saying, not yesterday, I was saying about Martin Luther King, that after the civil rights movement, and the leaders at that time felt like progress had been made. It felt like, all right, now we're starting to get some integration. We're starting to get some, whatever he was after. Like black people and white people can integrate. We could drink at the same water fountains, use the same bathrooms, sit at the same tables. That was starting to happen. Martin Luther King is responsible for that. His next step was we need to get our money right. We need to get our finances together. And I'm telling you that not necessarily about the topic of money, but Martin Luther King had a plan. First plan, are we going to march? We're going to do so peacefully. We're not going to fight fire with fire. We're going to be peaceful. We're going to be dignified. We're going to show them that we are not going to lower our heads. We just want the same respect that y'all get. That's it. We're not asking for anything extra. We want the same respect y'all get. Did that. Check. Next step, we got to get our money right. And when he was working on everybody getting their money right, that was the next step in his plan. That's when he got assassinated. The whole point is Martin Luther King had a plan. Martin Luther King wasn't even 40 years old. He had a plan. We ain't got no plan now. What's LeBron James's plan? He ain't got no plan. What's Colin Kaepernick's plan? We know he didn't have a plan. I don't think he even knew that the kneeling was going to do what it did. Barack Obama, did he have a plan? I'm not quite sure, but he was president. He kind of had his hands tied behind his back in ways. But who has a plan? I've given y'all plans. The last couple of days I told you we need to do this, and this for everybody. This ain't a black person thing. This is for anybody who's going to do what they're going to do in life. You got to have some kind of strategy. Where are you going? Do you know how you're getting there? Do you have a leader pointing the way? How will you know you're making progress? How will you know when you made it? How will you know when you got to the finish line? How will you know when the race is over? You know, the reason why people run races is eventually the race is going to be over, right? Eventually the race has to end. So this is what I'm trying to understand. We don't have any strategy, no plan, no leadership. This ain't about white people. White people ain't mad at you. Cops, we ain't mad at y'all. The system, white supremacy, what is that? What does that actually mean? I asked this question yesterday. Nobody can answer the question. Anybody tell me what white supremacy actually means? Can somebody point it out? Can somebody lay it out on paper? What white supremacy is, and then what can you do about it? Those are two things I want to know. Can anybody answer both of those questions? I don't know anyone who can answer both. I know a lot of people who can yell out, oh, white supremacy is happening in America. We need to destroy white supremacy. Okay. How? What's the first step? Where is this white supremacy so we can go find it and destroy it? Where's it at? Oh, it's just in people's minds. Oh, all right, how the fuck are we going to destroy that? And this is what I'm trying to figure out. All right, if that's the problem, if white supremacy is the problem and the only place it exists is in people's minds, how the fuck are we going to fix that? That's impossible to fix. You can't fix what another person is thinking. First of all, how are you going to tell somebody what they're thinking? Second of all, how are you going to change it? I can't answer either one of those questions. Oh, it's racism is the problem. Okay. Well, where is the racism so we can find it and get rid of it? Oh, it's in people's heads. Oh, all right. So how do we do that? How do we dig into people's heads and remove the racism and then close it back up again? Is there a way to do that? Last time I checked, you couldn't do that. Now, if there's some kind of technology that I don't know about, maybe I'm too busy in my own work writing these books that I don't know about it. Somebody let me know if y'all know anything about how that's done. All right. They say systemic oppression. Where is it? Again, where is it? What is the plan to do something about it? I'll tell you one thing that I did here today. A guy named DeRay Some of y'all may follow him on social media. I see he had like a million followers on social media. I looked him up on Twitter this morning. He was on the Bill Simmons podcast. Now, DeRay McKesson had an actual plan. I can't remember the name of what the thing was that he was putting out. He said it was coming out, I think, tomorrow. And his whole thing is about putting the cops in a certain position so that they cannot abuse their power, so that nobody's losing their lives at the hands of a cop. It wasn't a black thing. It wasn't a white thing. It was for nobody to lose their life at the hands of a cop who uses excessive force. And he had an 8-step plan. There was an 8-point plan to be laid out for how that actually happens. And he was talking the stats. He was talking about the research he's done, about the team that he has assembled, where he has been working so far, what's the next step that he's going to take. That's what strategic direction looks like. That's what it sounds like. If you go listen to Bill Simmons' podcast today, he had DeRay McKesson. Now, Bill Simmons is a sports guy, but he had DeRay McKesson on there because just like everybody else, everyone's talking about this right now. Go listen to that episode, and he talked about that, and he explained exactly what the plan is. You want to know what strategy sounds like? Go look him up on Twitter. He's probably on Instagram as well. I don't follow none of these people, but I'm sure he's on Instagram. He's on Twitter. His name is DeRay McKesson. Look him up. That's what a plan looks like. The reason why for those of you who are not black, who are listening to me right now, and I'm going to take questions, the reason why we have issues in the community, why you got somebody like me saying what I'm saying, while there's people on Twitter posting Black Lives Matter, and there's some people, if they were hearing what I was saying right now, they'd be mad at me for saying this because I'm black. They probably be trying to cancel me, right? Because I'm saying something that they disagree with. The reason why you hear so many different agendas from people in our community is because there's no leadership, there is no direction. Nobody can agree on where exactly we're going, and the people who are leading, quote unquote leading, they're just using tactics. All right, let's try this. That didn't work. All right, let's try this. That didn't work. Let's try this. That didn't work. All right, let's get mad at white people. Or let's get mad at the cops. Let's go march. Let's go do this. Like, there's no plan, and no wonder we're going in all different directions. No wonder when something happens, all we do is make a whole lot of noise. But as the saying goes, sound and fury signify nothing, and this is why we're not going anywhere. And if you want to know why black people can't breathe, it's because we're suffocating against our own selves. It ain't the cops. It's not the cops. It's not white people. It's not the president. It's not systemic oppression. It's not white supremacy. It's none of that shit. We are become victims of ourselves because we don't know what the fuck we're doing and where the fuck we're going. And that's what I just posted on IG 5 minutes before this live went on. So when this live is off, look at the post that I just posted on my feed where I talked about this. Like, we can't walk around life being victims of police this and white that, because we can't control what the police do, and we can't control the fact that police exist, and we can't control the fact that white people exist and we think they're thinking something. We can't prove it. You think somebody's thinking something, what the fuck is that? So what? They can think whatever they want to think. If you think there's white supremacists out there, so what? What are you going to do about it? You can't make them stop being that. If you believe that, what are you going to do? You still got to do something for yourself, and that's why we got to stop looking at ourselves like victims. And that's the part that has really bothered me the most, is that we're looking at ourselves like victims, and the most prominent amongst us should be telling people stop being a bitch and take ownership, because that's what I did to become successful. Look at me. I'm LeBron James. I got here by not looking at myself as a victim. I got here by taking control of my life and doing what I could do with my opportunity, and that's why I am who I am. So y'all need to do what I did so we can all be successful. But instead of doing that, LeBron instead says, oh, they're always killing us. They're always hunting us every time we come outside. And then his followers are picking up on that message and they're repeating it. Oh, they're always killing us. They're always hunting us. LeBron said it. And now he's sending us backwards, unfortunately. And that's just the way that I see it. If other people see it differently, that's fine. But I've heard this, and this is not me going off my opinion. This is what I'm seeing this man do, and other women. Jamel Hill, I mentioned yesterday. Charlamagne, another person I mentioned. And this is why we can't breathe. Why we're suffocating is not because of white people or the cops or none of this other shit. Now I'm repeating myself. So now I'm gonna take questions. I'm gonna see what we got in the comment section. I'm gonna address all the questions. I think we got a good 20 minutes to address questions. So somebody got a question or comment, go ahead and post it. I'm gonna look at what we got on Facebook first. There's fewer on Facebook, then I get the IG. Arent said, black people work on anger, how to channel it. Well, let's not say black people in general, because you would have to be specific as to who you're talking about. I'm not angry, and I'm black, so we can't say all black people. Arent said, do you think they will make change during this time, and what will that take? Well, it takes somebody stepping up and leading. The first thing is somebody has to step up and lead, and then everyone else has to get behind that person. The problem right now is it's going to be hard to do that, because in order for somebody to step up and lead, they're going to have to say some things that the most prominent and most known amongst us may be offended by some of those statements. For example, let's just say people just came out of nowhere and said, Dre, we want you to lead the black people. And I said, all right. And I go give a speech and all black people got to hear what I just said. A bunch of people are going to be offended. I'm going to offend a whole lot of people who would probably have a little bit too much ego to accept what I said. And then they will probably attack me in retribution just because they felt attacked, ego-wise. And the division would begin all over again. So now, that prominent person, it might be 10 prominent people who didn't like what I said because I trashed them. I might have dissed them personally. So now they're going to trash me. So now we split in half all over again. So the problem is, for someone to come up in a position of leadership, they're going to have to say some of the right things that everyone can agree on at the same time. And that's the issue right now. Everyone can't even agree where we're trying to go. So is it possible that we can get on the same page? Arent, Fantazi, yes, it is possible. Do I think it's going to happen? I need to see who that person is. For me to answer that question, I need to know who the person is who's going to do that. And what concept do they have that everyone can get behind and not feel personally offended by, that's actually going to produce a result. That's really hard to do. It's not impossible, but it is very hard to do. Follow up on Facebook. Do I think Biden can go in the forefront? Hell no. Biden is not going to win. All right. In case anybody wants to know my position on politics, if Joe Biden gets a Democratic nomination, Donald Trump will win in November, and he will get 4 more years. Joe Biden will not be president of the United States unless Donald Trump dies and Joe Biden runs unopposed. That's the only way he's winning. But if they go against each other, Joe Biden will not win. All right, let's see. Now I'm taking questions on Instagram. Adrian from Beverly Hills and Silicon Valley. Shout out to Silicon Valley. It's so clean out there. Cleanest streets I've ever seen in my life. Arbin, what's good? You finished school. I thought it wasn't no school because of COVID-19. Or maybe you're on the internet. Let's see. I'm just looking through the comments here and see if we got the flawed judicial system. There's a book called The New Jim Crow by author by the name of Michelle Alexander. It's a very good book. Now, that's one thing that if someone can come up with a plan, then I can co-sign that plan when it comes to the judicial system. Judicial system is set up to, apparently, you can look at the numbers. You can see that there's a much higher population of black people who get in prison and just get into the system based on a lot of the system. But there needs to be a plan. And at the same time, listen, I'm black. I'm not in the judicial system. So it's not being black alone that gets you in the system. It's you doing something that gets you in the system. Then the system fucks you up. But if you don't do nothing to be in the system, then the system can't fuck you up. I'm black. I've been black for 38 years. I have never done anything to get myself in the system. Therefore, the system can't fuck with me. So the people who have been fucked up by the system, they got to take a little bit of ownership of that. Because if they didn't do the wrong thing, then the system couldn't have did nothing to them. And again, that's the personal accountability that a lot of people don't want to hear. So if I was to come up and say something like that, again, a bunch of people would be pissed off at me for saying that, and then they cancel me, and then my run as the leader will be over. So that's the problem with our culture right now, is that nobody has one idea that everyone can agree on. So that's one of the problems. But we'll see. Maybe somebody will come along who can see things better than I can see them. I don't think I have all the answers. So maybe somebody will. Maybe we get another Obama who has a different approach. Somebody said Chance the Rapper is an activist. Well, listen, everybody's an activist when they got it. Everybody's an activist depending on what they post on Instagram. I'm not saying Chance is not an activist, but a lot of people are activists. I mean, somebody said Muhammad Ali. He's been dead for 4 years. Maybe you're talking about back then. But he was, Muhammad Ali was with the Nation of Islam, and I don't know that much about the Nation of Islam, so I can't really speak on what his beliefs were. That is all I can say about that. Yeah, somebody said the city of Cleveland is paying for that school. Yeah, that's just what I said. It's a public school. The school that LeBron opened, quote unquote, is a public school. The taxpayers in Cleveland are paying for LeBron's school. LeBron did not fund that school. He put his name on it. He put his face next to the press conference and all that, but that is not his school. Just in case anybody didn't know that. Again, that's not a knock on him. I mean, he put his name on it. There's nothing wrong with putting your name on a school and inspiring kids. Just his presence alone will inspire those kids. But that is not his, quote unquote, his school. But a lot of people use that argument when they defend LeBron, but it's not what it looked like. That's just the facts. Again, I'm not knocking him for doing it. He didn't do anything negative, but If people want to know the truth, that is the truth. Cam Grill said the only people who speak up and have somewhat an effect are athletes due to their popularity. You're absolutely right. And the problem is a lot of those athletes have very shallow ideas that have no depth and no substance, and then people follow it, and then we end up where we're at. So that's one of the issues right now. Peruvian Drake said people don't want to be empowered, they want something to complain about. That's what I just posted on IG. I just said that. Money May said, how about Louis Farrakhan? Well, he's the leader of the Nation of Islam, and I'm not a follower of the Nation of Islam, so I don't know that much about what Farrakhan is, what exactly his path or plan is, but he's been very well known for a long time. So for whatever reason, people aren't getting behind him. So it must have been something he said. He must have got canceled somewhere along the way by popular cultures, and that's why he's not the guy in front. But Louis Farrakhan been around for a long time. Louis Farrakhan has been prominent since the 80s. So I have no idea with Farrakhan. Cam Grill said you can't do anything about systemic oppression when the government consists of all filthy, rich, white men. Well, I'm glad you made that statement. First of all, how are you being systemically oppressed? Cam Grilly, who made that statement, anybody here who feels like they're being systemically oppressed, please tell me how. How are you being oppressed? I'm black. I live in America. I've been living here my whole life. I don't feel like I'm being oppressed by any type of system. No system is oppressing me. Does that mean my life is perfect? No. Does that mean nothing ever happens? No. Does that mean I never have bad days or have things occur that I don't want to occur? No. But I don't feel like I'm being systemically oppressed. Oppressed means like no matter what you do, you're being held down and there's a limit on your success. I don't feel that way. So anyone here who feels like they are being oppressed, please tell me and explain to me how you're being oppressed. Because I don't see this oppression that people like to talk about while they're being oppressed. There's no oppression. Colin Kaepernick said he was talking about systemic oppression. Colin Kaepernick, you're a quarterback in the NFL making, how much money was he making? $10 million a year? How are you a quarterback in the NFL making $10 million a year? You're a half black guy. Didn't Colin Kaepernick get adopted by 2 white people? So your parents gave you up. You got adopted by 2 white people. They raised you in the suburbs. You went to college. You got one of the 30 biggest, most important jobs in all of professional sports. You're making millions of dollars a year, and you're talking about systemic oppression. How are you being oppressed? Who oppressed Colin Kaepernick anywhere along the way? Who in here? Even if you're a nobody with 10 followers, how are you being oppressed? Somebody tell me where you are being oppressed in your everyday life. 'Cause I don't see no oppression. Now, technically, I don't live in the ghetto, but I don't come from money. I come from a lower middle class neighborhood. All right, it wasn't poor, but it was the next level above that. All right, I ain't see no systemic oppression. So where is this? Somebody explain that to me. Where is it at? Because I don't see it. I don't feel it. It has nothing to filthy, rich, white men. So what? There's a bunch of rich black people too. Filthy, rich, white men are not doing anything to stop you. Let me explain something to y'all. Anybody who thinks that, you think a bunch of old, rich, white people are holding you down or oppressing you. All right, those filthy, rich, white men, whoever you're talking about, guess how they got rich? You think they got rich by worrying about your ass? You think they got rich because they worrying about some broke black kid in the ghetto? All right, they don't give a fuck about what you're doing or saying. All right, they worried about their money. All right, that's how they got rich in the first place. They are not trying to hold you back or oppress you or stop you from succeeding in life. They don't give a fuck about nothing you got going on. They don't. All right, so they didn't get there for worrying about you, and they're not going to stay where they at by worrying about you. So anybody who thinks that a bunch of white people with money is holding down black people, like they don't give a fuck about what no black people are doing. All right, no, they don't give a fuck about no hashtag, no black square, or none of this shit. So please delete that argument. Anybody who has that argument in their mind, please stop using it. People don't get to where they're at by worrying about you. They get there by worrying about themselves. Coach Kev says the higher ups in control are racist. They run the world. Their goal is to stay on top, keep black people on the bottom. That's what I believe is white supremacy. Now, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. The people who are on top got on top by focusing on getting to the top. Listen, whatever you consider to be on top, is Jay-Z on top? Is Puff Daddy on top? Is Michael Jordan on top? Is LeBron James on top? Is Bob Johnson on top? Was Colin Kaepernick on top before he decided to burn his own bridge? What is somebody like Charlemagne? He's very popular. He's on top. All these people, the first few people I named, they got articles out talking about how much money they got. So people who are publicly noted, Dr. Dre, Kanye West, are these people on top? They're on top. So what are they doing? Is it their fault that other black people aren't getting up there? Are they holding black people down? This is the point that I'm making. People say, well, these people with money, they're the ones who are stopping everything. No, that's not white supremacy. What about the black people who got money? What about them? Why didn't these white people stop Jay-Z, Puff Daddy, Kanye, Dr. Dre, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, fucking Allen Iverson, who else is out there? Any other prominent black person you can name who's known for having a lot of money. It's publicly known that they made a lot of money. Why didn't these same white supremacists stop those guys from making their money? Why? Why didn't they stop everybody? If they could stop me and you and everybody else, why didn't they stop any of these dudes that we know of who are known, publicly noted for how much money they got? Somebody answer that question for me? I want to know the answer to that question. Somebody can tell me, if that's what anyone believes white supremacy is, why didn't they stop everybody? If you're supreme, you can stop everything, right? That's what supremacy means. You're supreme over everybody. It ain't nobody slips through the cracks when somebody is supreme. So if the white man is supreme to everyone else, how did these few people slip through and make $1 billion? Like, they let how many people? Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, Puff Daddy, Kanye, all they made it. Michael Jordan, they all made $1 billion, and the white man missed it. How they miss it? They're supreme. How'd they miss it? Somebody tell me the answer to that question, because I don't know. Coach Kerr says, plan would be to find a way to take them out of control. What are they in control of? This is my question to you. If anybody who agrees with that, what are they in control of that is stopping you personally from doing what you need to do for yourself? That's the question that I'm asking anyone in here. If anybody in here has an answer, please tell me the answer to this question. I appreciate you, Arent, over there on Facebook. Somebody tell me, how is white supremacy stopping anyone in here from doing what you need to do to get to where Jay-Z or Puff or Kanye or LeBron or Michael Jordan or Bob Johnson or Oprah or whoever else you want to name who is known for having made a lot of money? We're just going to use money as a measure of success, right? So we're going to call that success. All these people we know, there's articles about how much money these guys got. Why didn't the white supreme people stop any of them from making $1 billion? Why? And how are they stopping you? Why, Cooley? I appreciate you. JNO says, I could be wrong. I just got to go on my day like anyone else. But where's the Black Panther Party during all of this? Yeah, the Black Panther Party kind of been out of power for a long time. We haven't heard from them in a while. So I don't think they exist as they're known in the stories. They don't exist like that in this day anymore. But I mean, it's a legitimate question. But I got the same question you got. I don't know where they at. So that's my answer. I have no idea. Cooley says the problem is victim mentality. It absolutely is. I mean, you're seeing it in the comments right now. Yeah, the Black Panthers were dismantled by the government. They probably were, because they started to develop a little bit of power, and they were starting to make things happen. And they probably were dismantled by the government. The Black Panthers weren't perfect, but I'm not going to co-sign that and say that I know it for a fact, but I've heard people say that. Let's just say that. Manor says, some of my followers got mad because I posted I'm going to miss Grant Napier, even though I disagree with his racist comments. I saw what Grant said. I don't think he was trying to be racist. I think he said something that he just said at the wrong time and got taken as racist. But it's this cancel culture we have now, you can't say anything. He wasn't trying to be racist. It looked like he was trying to include everyone, but that's the way it works now. He said the wrong thing at the wrong time. Kev said, the thing I don't understand, something happens when we get mad for a week or two, month goes by, we go back to normal. That's because there's no plan. I'm going to help you understand it. There's no plan. That's why people forget about it. Question is, do I think BLM is controlled by George Soros? Do I think Black Lives Matter is controlled by George Soros? I have no idea who they're controlled by. They're not controlled by nobody. Black Lives Matter doesn't have a plan. There is no control. That's their problem. So no, they're not controlled by anybody. They're controlled by nothing. They're controlled by emotion and tactics and flying by the seat of their pants. That's why they keep trying different stuff and none of it works. That's the problem with Black Lives Matter. On average, we barely have leaders in our homes growing up most of the time, so I'm not even surprised we don't have any leaders put the pressure on themselves. Well, some people do. I don't know about on average. I don't know the stat. I don't know the specific stats. But I wouldn't say everybody. Some people grow up without leaders. Listen, LeBron didn't have a father in his home, but LeBron turned out pretty good. And he got kids, and it looks like he's a pretty good father. I mean, I don't know LeBron, but it looks like he did pretty good. And there are some people who have fathers who still mess up. But I don't think that's the main. I think we got bigger issues than that. That is one issue, though. I'm not going to discredit that issue. That is an issue. If we can get more two-parent homes, I think that will help a lot. So that is a good point. Daniel says, I was born in Europe. My family came to Canada. Grew up in this culture. I didn't push shit, but I'm all about post shit, but I'm all about good over evil. Well, I appreciate that. You ain't got to post nothing. And you shouldn't feel pressure to post anything just because black people would get mad if you didn't. Any white person on here, you don't have to post shit if you don't want to. All right, this ain't your fight to be fighting. You didn't do nothing wrong. You ain't got to say nothing if you don't want to. Princess TE says, do you believe in the deep state is true? Is there a possibility everything is planned by the government? They're hiding a lot we don't know about. Well, Princess, we would call that a conspiracy theory. And the thing about conspiracy theories is they're very convincing. All right, that's what makes them conspiracy theories. But in general, I would say no. I'm not going to cop to a conspiracy theory, because if I think all of life is planned by the government, then that makes me a victim of the government. And I ain't no fucking victim. So I don't know about you, but I'm not going to call myself a victim of no white supremacy, no rich white people, a government conspiracy, none of that shit. I'm going to say I'm in control of my fate. That's what I'll say for me. Now, anybody else who wants to feel like a conspiracy is controlling your life, that's your choice. But that's not my choice. Daniel said, a lot of my heroes are black people. I want to see a plan. You'll support it. A lot of my friends talk to me about the victim stuff you're saying. Thank you for being real. Well, you're welcome. I'm glad that the message resonates with you. But this is where we're at right now. And we do need someone with an actual plan. First of all, we got to figure out what's the outcome, then the plan. Air Groove, do you think Claude Anderson would be a good leader? I like Claude Anderson. I've heard several of his interviews. I like Claude Anderson. I don't know where he stands in this right now. I think he does have a plan. I have heard him talk, and he did have some actual systemic things to say. Here's the challenge for Dr. Claude Anderson. It's the same as someone would, like myself. The challenge is that his plans are not emotional enough to get the shallow people excited. See, that's the problem. Social media has made people think on such a shallow level that if your plans are not emotional and it really gets people excited in the moment, then they don't really want to hear it. Because anything that requires discipline and time and self-governance, people don't want to hear that because it's not exciting. It's boring, quote unquote boring. So the thing about Claude Anderson's plans, they are actually very good ideas. But because they're not emotional and they don't get people excited to do something right now, that is where they're going to land on deaf ears of the ignorant. And unfortunately, there are many more ignorant amongst us than intelligent. That's just the unfortunate truth of human beings, humanity. That's not even a black thing. That's everybody. The Life of Trice, thank you for bringing honest, rational conversation. Thank you. R. Dixon, do you think the fact that after 9/11 cops were admired and respected led to average Joe wanting to be a cop? They're physically weak as well as weak-minded. They resort to lethal force. I don't know about all that. I would say I can't even speak on how my opinion of cops in general. I don't really deal with cops that often, and I ain't trying to deal with no cops unless I hired them to do something for me. So I can't say that. I would say in some certain situations, listen, especially in a riot/protest situation, imagine being a cop in that situation. Everybody's mad at the cops, and people might throw shit at you and try to hurt you, and they yelling in your face and got negative shit to say to you. Like, how do you think you would respond to that? That is a high stress situation. So I can understand how a cop could be kind of like on edge in a situation like that. Not saying that any cop who used excessive force is right, but I can understand why they would. And that's is something that is until you're in their shoes is hard to see it that way. Daniel says the whole system at fault, but it's easy to say that. Thank you for speaking the truth. Yeah, we can blame the system all day, but the system ain't changing just because we complain about it. Very true on accountability. That's right. America's a sick place now. It's not because of COVID. Yeah, you're right. Tarek says, how do you stay motivated consistently? Because I do things and talk about things that interest me, so I don't have to get motivated because I'm doing things that I actually want to be doing. When you're doing what you want to do, you ain't got to get motivated. That's the way I see it. And if you're a professional at what you do it anyway, even when you're not motivated. Even when you don't feel like it, you do it. That's what a professional does. That's why they pay you. Professionals get paid because they deliver every time, even when they don't feel like delivering. Hopefully that answers your question. But I talk about that in my book, Work on Your Game, right here. Somebody said Farrakhan is very well connected, was seen as a threat. I agree with that. Brandon says, do you think white privilege doesn't exist? I think there is white privilege in that some white people, because they're born white, they're set up on, you're born on second or third base, yeah. Because you will have certain things afforded to you by being white, just by default of being white, that black people do not have. I do believe that exists, but that is not stopping me from doing what I need to do as a black person. So if you're white, anybody, and you were born on second base, and I'm black, and I was born in the parking lot, what you do ain't got shit to do with me. You being on second base does not stop me from getting into the stadium, getting up to bat, and hitting the home run. All right, you being born on second base is not stopping me from doing anything. So that, in that sense, white privilege, like just being white in a country that was made by and for white people. I said this on my podcast on Monday. Sure, it gives a white person some advantages that black people don't have, but that doesn't stop the black person from doing what they need to do for themselves. So yes, and there are two yeses to the answer to that question. So, but I'm not blaming a white person for being white. They didn't do it. They were born white. It's not their fault. If you white, you white. If you black, you black. You still got to do what you got to do for yourself, regardless of what somebody else's situation is. We don't look on. I heard Steph Curry say this. They asked Steph Curry once, because remember Steph Curry had that smaller contract. People was like, Steph, how do you feel about other people making more money than you? And Steph Curry said, my dad always told me, never look on another man's plate. What the other man is eating ain't got nothing to do with me. You look at what's on your plate and don't focus on what other people got. So if a white person has privilege, fine. But what the fuck did that got to do with me doing what I need to do? Now, I'm working on a book right now. A white person having privilege ain't got shit to do with me writing my book, or doing this live, or going to the gym tomorrow, or whatever I need to do for myself. So if a white person has privilege or not is not even my business. I don't give a fuck if a white person got privilege, because I ain't white. Pruvian said people are oppressed in their mind. You're absolutely right. That's a systemic oppression right there, is the way people think. He was standing up for, yeah, you're right. Daniel says, I'm all about justice. I'm all about good, not evil. Air Groove said, using athletes as an example for people who defy white privilege. Not really, no. Because athletes have they hit the genetic lottery. I'm an athlete. I was born 6'4". That gave me an advantage over somebody who was 5'4". So no, I wouldn't say they defy it. I would say musicians are a better example. On the topic of systemic racism, do you agree that the old system, which is widely considered to be racist like slavery, prevented black people from accumulating wealth to set up future generations? Yes, I do believe the system of slavery kept black people from, black people were owned. They were property, so they couldn't do anything. But Martin Luther King and company created the civil rights movement and gave us a ton of rights that they did not have. The slaves did not have. Right now, we have more opportunity than we've ever had. So we have less reason to complain than any generation of black people in history. And the next generation will have even fewer reasons to complain, hopefully, unless we take them backwards. And right now, we're going backwards. Trade on Purpose says, send this while live to CNN to get on TV. Thanks for speaking the truth and taking ownership of one's life. If KG and AI can make it to the top, so can we. Well, okay, if you want to use them as an example, fine, but Kevin Garnett, like 7 feet tall. So unless you're 7 feet tall, I don't know if you could do what he did, but I get what you're saying. I get the idea. Iron Man said about Grant's comments, is it a bad thing? Like if a suspected sex offender music like Tekashi and R. Kelly, people get mad at me? I don't know. Go listen to it and see what people say. How would they know what you listen to anyway? Megan says, never look at another person's plate. That is correct. Tyrek, I answered your question. Mozart said, what do I think about white people apologizing for being white? I thought it was funny. I think they're afraid. I think some white people are afraid to some white people are afraid to say anything other than apologizing to black people right now. Some white people are afraid to say anything. Some white people feel like they say something, they got to apologize to black people. And then there's some white people who's like, fuck it, and they just going to say what their real opinion is. That's what I think right now. And I think some white people's real opinion is to apologize to black people, even though they didn't do nothing to them. Chirac says, what are your thoughts on posting black screens? I posted one yesterday. And moreover, it's symbolizing not buying anything, which would affect Americans' economy. Easier said than done, but would it be an effective tactic? I ain't stopping from buying shit. I'm buying something. I went to Whole Foods. Well, I ordered Whole Foods yesterday, so I ain't stopping from buying. I posted the little screen, and then I said yesterday on my story, all right, what's next? What is the next step? What's the plan? All right, we posted the fucking square. What's the next plan? What's the plan? Nobody answered. So that's all I can do. As far as me, I do what I need to do, and I preach this message to the people who want to hear it. I do this every single day. Y'all see it. Somebody said, do we have time to discuss the following topics? Economy, history, policy, and exception? Well, Instagram tell me I got a minute and 22 seconds left, so I don't think so, Vic W. But maybe in the future. I do these lives every day, so if you got questions, a specific question on one of those topics, tomorrow's live, just post it and I'll address it. But we got 1 minute left, so I'm going to answer. That's all the questions. So I'm going to tell you about these 2 books, and then we ended it. You can get both of these books free. They're already paid for. I'm going to tell you how to get them. Mirror Motivation, Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. I wrote this book for anybody who wants to step out of the old you, step into the new you. When you step into the new you with new energy, you can take the same actions and get completely different results. This book is already paid for. I paid for it already. You pay for the shipping. Go to mirrorofmotivation.com. Mirrorofmotivation.com. This book right here is for people who want to play basketball overseas, the Overseas Basketball Blueprint. Even if you come from a small school, no school, that not decorated background. You want to play basketball overseas and get paid to play ball, go to balloverseas.com. The book's already paid for. You pay for the shipping, balloverseas.com. I don't have time for any more questions, everybody, because Instagram is about to cut me off. I do these lives every day. IG, at Dre Baldwin, Facebook /Work on Your Game. If you got questions, comments, concerns, come back tomorrow. Ask it. I will answer it, time permitting. Everybody have a great day. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the engagement. Work on your game. Get the free books. MirrorMotivation.com, balloverseas.com. You want this book? WorkOnYourGameBook.com. Everybody have a great night. Work on your game. We out of here.